Welcome to our next adventure with KIMology 411, a podcast about anything and everything. Kim and her guests will take you behind the scenes, behind the story, or behind the bar. So sit back. Make sure your seatbelt is fastened, tray table in its upright position, all carry-ons stored under the seats. But for this adventure, electronic devices must remain on, as we are ready to take off on our next adventure. Introducing Kim Schultz and KIMology 411.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 25. We are so excited about this episode because Tyson and I are going to give you our perspectives on how to make a relationship work. I am Kim Schultz, and I'm your adventure coordinator for this show. Let's say hi to my co-host, Tyson Harley.
25 episodes.
25, I know.
Incredible.
Woohoo!
Audible. Uh-oh, that's right. We can't do that. I was thinking audible high five so we could hear it on radio.
Right, and
then Kim had the reaction because it is March, 17th of 2020?
18th. It's my brother's 50th birthday.
18th of 2020.
Yep.
And we are in coronavirus mode in case you're looking back at that later.
Right.
So I kind of forgot about that whole we're supposed to high elbow.
That's okay. You washed your hands. I washed my hands.
Anyway, but 25, that's kind of a landmark episode for an early podcast. You know, later on, the landmark episodes become like 100 and 150 and 200. But really, 25 is a nice little thing to get to because a lot of people might kind of, peter out at about a dozen or 6 or
His
something.
25th anniversary is important, so 25.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's our silver podcast anniversary. Is that right?
No, I think
silver
it's Ruby.
50?
I think it's like Ruby. I think 25 is like Ruby or something.
Oh, yeah, it could be something like that.
Ruby.
But yes.
What'd you buy me? Like,
what?
Are you supposed to... I don't celebrate Valentine's Day, but I do celebrate important podcast episodes.
I have to get back to you on that one. So, yes, that's very cool, episode 25. We will be covering, like you said, some basically just us talking about relationship stuff, which I know I'm an expert.
We're both... we're both single.
I mean, me and John Gray, which we were talking about...
Christian.
Oh, Christian. Well, that's a different type of relationship. That's just something that no. So, in between now and there, we're going to go with, we still haven't worked the production people up, so just relax. Quick hits with Tyson Harley. The first one is, we are going to cover this later, and so I'll tease this shortly and say, the quick tease will be, Tyson gets an unexpected vacation.
Woohoo!
So, that's quick hit number 1. More details later. Quick hit number 2, sports news. Sports news is there are no sports.
None.
But, that said, sports news now, and you guys, if you listen to later, if you listen to it now, you understand it. If you listen to it later, it'll make sense in a second once you remember the context of when this was recorded. However, there is sports news as far as movement of different players and things, and that's the best we have right now. And as a Chiefs fan, what? Phillip Rivers has been the gift that keeps on giving as a division quarterback because he's like, he's the Chargers quarterback. And it's funny because I said this some time ago, and then I saw a player doing the same thing about another, using the same expression about another player. So Phillip Rivers is a quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers. He's in the division. We play him twice a year. And he's the gift that keeps on giving because at important times in the ball game, he just says, hey, Chiefs defensive backs, have a football.
Take the ball.
You have a football. You have a football. You have a football.
Everybody gets a football.
He's like the Oprah Winfrey of quarterbacks. So he's kind of a laughing stock in that he's had a pretty decent career, but we've been able to count on him to basically throw interceptions when the time comes.
Correct.
And so he's
kind of like he's playing on our team.
He's off to the Colts. He's off to the Colts when we just laugh. It's like, I mean, all Chiefs fans are like, really? How did the Colts make that decision? But that's fine. That's good.
Right.
Even better, our big rival in the future is supposed to be this Las Vegas Raiders team.
Ooh.
The big black hole in Las Vegas. It looks so gleaming and black and scary, right? Well, they have Derek Carr and John Gruden. Tell you what, man. And so they have a guy named Derek Carr as a quarterback. Another quarterback who just keeps on giving. And instead they traded him for Loserville, Marcus Mariota. I mean, like, okay, getting rid of Derek Carr for Marcus Mariota is like trading in your girlfriend that's a 5 1/4 on the scale of 1 to 10 for a girlfriend that's 5.3.
Like they just kind of, it's kind of like a straight over.
That was your big upgrade. That was your big upgrade, Raiders. That's that quick hit, boom, boom, and the last quick hit. I don't even know what this is about. Maybe that's the last of the quick hits. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. So that's the last of the quick hits. That's quick hits with Tyson Harley. Smack.
We really need something for that.
Hey, at least I brought the enthusiasm this time.
Yeah, very exciting. Very exciting. Very, very exciting. So, first of all, today is my brother's 50th birthday, and I don't know if we talked about this or not, but we have a local restaurant that allows you to eat a free steak dinner, and so I was going to plan a surprise birthday party because that's what I do for my brother. My family all the time when we do the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. And so I was going to plan one because our friend Eugene also has the same birthday, and so does his friend Alex. So there's like 3 of his
birthday or year
birthday.
Too.
I don't know
just
about
birthday.
the year, but it's just March 18th. So I'd called Eugene and had said, hey, let's do a surprise party. We'll pretend like it's your party, but it'll be a surprise for my brother. And then he was supposed to be out of town on tour with Rick Thomas, which, of course...
It's an illusionist out of Branson, Missouri. I mean, oftentimes he's in Branson, but he also goes on tours lately.
Well, and he's out of Las Vegas. Okay. So anyway, so that kind of threw that out. So I said, you know what, we'll just do the steak dinner. Like on the 25th, because they were supposed to be on tour. And because of the coronavirus, which you're listening to this in 2025, you're going to want to go look up because it's when the world stopped. And so he's back. But anyway, so I had planned the 25th, and I told him about it. I said, we're going to go eat dinner, and I'm going to make an event, but I'm going to invite some of your friends. And I get a text message, and he was like, I am driving myself. And if I show up and there is any sort of a party, I will leave. And I said, okay, well, we're really just going to have a steak dinner because I'm busy. Like, thank you. But here's the surprise. No surprise birthday party.
No party per se.
There's no party. We're
dinner.
just going to eat dinner. And so I thought that was kind of funny. So today was his actual 50th birthday party. And I mean, his
Your brother
birthday,
an introvert, or he just doesn't like surprises?
I think he's more an introvert. Like he loves the attention when he's like diva and it's the drag queen and stuff like that, but he doesn't like surprises. Like okay. I did his birthday party when he turned 40, maybe even 30. I don't know. I've always done parties, but this year I was like, I'm not going to do a party. Thank goodness I didn't, because the world has come to an end. And
this week we mentioned this in an early episode that and check, because you might be surprised. Ask people where you live. There might be a place here and there that gives something like not just 10% off, but like a free something or other that's worth it for somebody's birthday.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not going to be the usual establishment, but in our case, it's like one establishment in the entire city.
Yeah, and I brought 25 people last year to mine.
Lone Star here. Is that what
North
it is?
Star.
North Star.
North Star.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that.
So anyway, he turned 50, but this last weekend...
Well, after you said dinner, not party, what was the response?
If you think you're going to joke with me and there's going to be a party, I will leave. He does not believe me that there's not a party.
But he's okay if it's actually just a quote
he's
dinner
gonna do
with
a dinner
with
his
people.
friends. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, and so I've got a group of people on Facebook that's it's Frank's birthday, and it's also it's Chris's birthday. It's just a group of all of our friends that we do stuff with, and so I put in there. I was like, hey, let me know if you're coming. The owner of the restaurant is actually in there now. And so I said, let me know if you're coming. I made an event so he can see a few people are coming, but then in the part and over here in the group, there's actually more people coming, but we're talking 10 people. We're not talking 500 people show up.
I was a little confused on what his distinction was between party and dinner. Anyway.
I didn't know.
Whether it was just size or whether it was,
I don't know.
No clowns.
No clowns. I'm not doing anything special. We're just going to eat dinner, and that's it. I mean, you're going to get a free dinner.
Gotcha.
So anyway, so this weekend, I went out, and I'm pretty excited. I don't know if you know this, but I think I was in the largest St. Patrick's Day parade of 2020. It might have been the only St. Patrick's Day.
It was a little in advance, which and that helps considering everything else. Because
every one of them
by the time
canceled.
Tuesday rolled around,
they're canceled.
All kinds of things changed as you look back in between even the Friday of last week to then the Monday and then the Tuesday. So they ended up being canceled. Yeah.
Saturday, that's where all the parades were on Saturday.
Yeah.
Kansas City, and even like, I don't know if Kansas City was Friday. They might have been on Tuesday. But every parade was canceled except our parade. And our parade was actually called the St. Gregory's Day Parade. But then when we found out that we were the only St. Patrick's Day parade happening, all like 18 of us.
And you said where?
In Newton, Kansas, which is outside of Wichita, Kansas.
Okay, I thought it was down in that direction. Mm-hmm. And for those of you who don't know, think about the southern third of Kansas plus about the eastern third, just kind of at that
couple hours from Oklahoma.
Yeah, and now you're saying the parade was small, but your population, you put the population here. Yeah, that's just the size of the city there?
Yeah. So Newton is 18,900 people. That was just showing you how big of a city. But our parade is, we just walked outside. You can go onto my Facebook page. You can watch the videos of the parade. If my profile is public, so go on there and look for the parade. You can see all of us. We're all dressed up in orange because it's St. Gregory's Day parade, but there's still a lot of green. My friend Greg started this parade 4 years ago because he's in Newton, Kansas, and I don't know, I guess he loves himself to have his little St. Gregory's Day parade. And this year was a lot smaller than the years in the past because of what's been going on, but we still walked our 3 blocks all the way around the circle in the neighborhood.
And, so did some people consider it a St. Patrick's Day parade?
We changed it because we wanted to set the record for 2020 to have the largest, like what do you call it? The Guinness World Book of Records. If they were to say what is the largest 2020 parade before the next parade, right, it would have been the St. Gregory's Day parade.
That reminds me, the idea that he's like, you know what, I'm going to have a parade.
Yep.
So, I've listened to stand-up comedy on Pandora a lot. I've mentioned that before. And Hannibal Buress. Yeah, Hannibal Lecter, great stand-up guy. A lot of people don't know that. Liver and flava beans. No, Hannibal Buress, he's the guy who actually was credited a lot with helping to make more visible the awful things that Bill Cosby did that have been kind of... Right. Anyway, he's a pretty funny comedian, and he's fairly prominent now. And he said he went down to New Orleans, and you can just go to the New Orleans... they're all about tourism down there.
Right.
And so the police are, too, because they know tourism is important. And at least at the time he did his stand-up, they're like, oh, so yeah, you want a parade? And they will let you just have a parade for yourself.
My friend
down near Bourbon Street and stuff. It doesn't have to be very official at all.
Right.
It's like you can, and remember down on Bourbon Street, I don't know if New Orleans in general, but certainly in that immediate area, you can take your drinks anywhere.
Right.
You can take out on the street, just leave. And you can have a parade with a little, a brass band following you. Yep. It's just kind of crazy. So the fact that you said St. Gregory's Day Parade reminded me of that. Yes. And I didn't know that until I heard Hannibal Buress talk about it.
Right.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, my friend HR used to have a parade down Kansas Avenue for his birthday. It was called the Doodah Parade. And all he did was he would go and he would throw, instead of candy, it was office supplies to all the office workers. He never did it, but that was his joke. He was going to do a Doodah Parade. So anyway, we're still like a month away from the end of tax season,
which means you're busy.
Oh my gosh, I'm busy. I'm going to work all weekend, but I actually have gotten 2 new. One of them might be an accounting client. But another one, I'm just working on her QuickBooks because I do QuickBooks development. So anybody listening to this and wants to fly me out, I'll get your QuickBooks set up for you. I love
And when I
doing
came
that.
in here, we did have sometimes we have a rough starting time, so it's no big deal. We always work it out. It's not specific. And I interrupted a client, but I didn't know until I was hanging out near the studio.
Yeah,
so
that's okay.
Apparently, I didn't bother things too much.
My people are pretty laid back.
My
And so
peoples.
anyway, I am doing that. So hopefully I'm going to grow. I had a call today from a potential new client. He's got a construction business, so that's kind of awesome. And so I guess we'll see where exactly that happens or where that goes. But it's crazy. It's crazy busy. So I guess we're going to do a really quick thing because we do want to make sure that at 3/18/2020, we are still dealing with the coronavirus outbreak that's going on. And we are going to go over to an excursion about this because we do not want people to have to listen to what we have to say. We want to get on to...
I want to have the option because I know personally I was sick of the coverage about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and so
we're all sick.
This way you can, we mentioned it, but we're not going to delve into it. If you want to go listen to the delve, you can.
And
we'll talk about our thoughts and also probably cover some, at the end, probably some memes. So it's kind of serious and kind of a social look, just the social reactions to it. In a social media sense as well. So you can go to the excursion for that.
So, yeah. So we... what do you call it? 3 things that we're going to say is, like you said before, all sports have been canceled. That's never happened. I've never been alive to where every sport has been canceled.
Not even close.
Every sport. And we have mayors and governors, and evidently it's a CDC, but I don't really know what's going on. They're making different bars, restaurants, and different businesses close down. And, of course, there's still no toilet paper. I mean, just think about this. I don't know when you're listening to this, but at this point right now, you cannot go buy toilet paper at the grocery store because it's all gone. And people have thousands of rolls of toilet paper. I don't know what they're doing with it.
Told my brother-in-law I should just go outside Walmart, take some of my excess, take it out of the plastic, unroll it, and then roll it back up so it looks a little jankety, and just have a sign that says lightly used. We'll get more of that. So we will be covering Corona. But back to our main topic for the main part.
Their main topic is, let's see what I call it, making a relationship work. Now, coming from 2 single people...
Take all this with a barrel of salt.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted a lighthearted, fun topic that it didn't have to require any research or anything like that. And so we're going to be talking about relationships. And I would have to say that I think there's 100% of the population is in a relationship. And that might be like friendships. It might be romantic. I was going to say, unless there's someone
hiding in my bushes, I'm not aware.
It might be eating.
Too. Okay.
It might be the gym. It might be with your car. I mean, people have relationships with a lot of different things nowadays. But we are going to be talking about the human relationship.
I know when I first got my newest used car, I was definitely pretty smitten. We've cooled off a little, but I'm still pretty close. Still pretty close.
You ride her all the time, don't you?
I do not. I do not social distance.
You do not social distance from your car.
That's a new phrase, in case you didn't know. Hopefully it dies by the time you hear from it in 2020 or something. I mean 2022.
So anyway, we're going to focus on 2 human beings, and they don't have to be romantically connected, but... it can't be a relationship with a car or something like that. We're not going to talk about that. So one thing that I like to stress is who you are around almost dictates how your day is going to be. And so we've got multiple different kind of relationships in our life, but I'm not going to worry about the work one. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about the after hour time. And so we've got Tyson, who's an introvert, so he enjoys his own self.
Okay, well, I feel like that was an uncomfortable way to say it.
I mean, I don't know. But anyway.
So am I negative or am I positive?
Are you
Because go ahead with your next little point.
Oh,
there.
well, I haven't got to the points yet.
Oh, okay.
I haven't got to the points. I'm just talking about you'd be better. You're always in a better mood if you're around positive people. All right. So.
Right.
And so what would you say you are? Because I'm pretty positive.
Around other people, I'm pretty positive unless they take, because sometimes people take me talking about my serious matters as though then they think that's all I talk about. And it's really more like I'm thinking about a sounding board.
Right.
And I find it interesting, and I'm interested in interesting social topics as a political science minor. So if they're if they can take what I hope is stimulating a nuanced conversation as its own, kind of positive, then they would consider me positive if I jump into there, because I'm just talking about, deep thoughts with Tyson Harley. But if they take that to mean, oh, but you're talking about a major societal issue and that can be depressing, then they might mistake two things for that. First of all, that's negative, and or B, that therefore Tyson's always negative.
Right.
So I think for the most part, people I'm around mostly know that I'm also funny and try to be silly a lot. So I think it balances it out, So I think that probably because I can be a silly company too, that they'll take it as positive.
And I think I'm pretty positive, but I'm also kind of blunt in what I say and stuff like that. But when it's about like around friends and stuff like that, I just kind of try to be quirky and funny. Like I think most people would say that if I'm out in my friendships and stuff like that, when I'm with like in like a relationship and stuff, I really am just pretty laid back, and I try to be as positive as possible. There's too many negative things in the world, so I do try to push positive.
And for the most part, what I try to do, if the other person's understanding me and is kind of connecting with me, is basically the way we discuss with our podcasts. Try to bring in some thoughts and some fun, but also, some thoughts and some nuance, but also try to be fun and just throw in silly stuff. I don't think either one of us. I think basically the representation. I could be wrong. You know you better than I know you, but the representation that we put across in the podcast, it's pretty genuinely how it would be if you just interacted with us, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty much me. Like, I don't know how to be not me.
Right.
And so, on my Facebook, I'm a little bit different because I don't have the time for strangers to attack me unless I choose for them, like I choose a topic for that. And I don't enjoy the confrontation part of it. You can say something in social media and being the best thing in the world, and someone's going to find something and tear you down. But if I said it to your face, you would have a whole different way of responding to me. So
True pet peeve of yours.
Yeah, it is a pet peeve. So anyway, we're going to go through. We have 5 different things that I just randomly came up with. And the first one is, do opposites attract?
We're talking relationships, both just basically personal relationships, not romantic per se.
Yeah, and
friends and romantic partners and the like.
Yeah.
So opposites attract. So my top of my head, I would say no.
No.
It depends on how much you define just how opposite is opposite. But if it's truly opposite, I think no. Outside of that, I like girls a lot. But you mean if points of view and things, I think there probably has to be a bit of overlap.
Right.
On the other hand, we do know that if there's some commonality, then things like introversion and extroversion are not a barrier. So It depends on how you define opposites. But if you truly take like all the 7 characteristics that you would first assign to Tyson, and you said, okay, the opposite of that in all 7, then so the true absolute opposite, I probably wouldn't want to talk to that person very much.
Right. Well, and I like a few years ago, I would have said no. But then I looked at like both of my ex-husbands and I was like, evidently yes. Because the first one was a horrible person. I'm a good person. Opposite. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
and you
everything
said-
about us, everything about
You
us
said
was
attract, not
yeah.
necessarily stay together.
Right. And but I was attracted to the bad boy, and I'm not a bad girl. So, you know, I think there's a little bit of I don't want to date myself in me. So I kind of look for that. And so like the different guys, like when it comes to like a relationship, I've got different guys in my life that I don't really date them, but I'm kind of around him and I look at him and I'm thinking, you know, like, well, I would date you or I would not date you. Like you kind of have that in your mind. And some of them are totally opposite on political views, but I'm such in the middle that it doesn't really bother me that they say the things that they do. But then but we have to have something in common. And I think if you have something in common and maybe 60% or something, like more than 50, excuse me, then I think the other 40% could be good. So, like, I believe that a sports nut could date someone that doesn't really like sports as long as the person not liking sports doesn't get mad or hold their love for sports against them.
Right.
Because not every girl loves it. Now, I know some girls that are just like, I hate sports because the boyfriend hates sports. And then they break up with that boyfriend and they go with the boyfriend with all the sports. And then they're like, I love sports. And then they change depending on who it is. And I can't do that. I am like, I will gladly, if this is what you like to do, I will gladly go and do that. And I'm not going to say, no, I will not do that.
It doesn't mean necessarily you're not being true to yourself.
Right.
It's just a certain amount of some of those, let's say there are those 7 main, how you would explain. If 2 or 3 overact, that's great. And another 1 or 2, overlap, I should say. If another 1 or 2, one or the other is flexible on it. You know, it doesn't mean you're not being you anymore. It's just like, yeah, I'll go watch a little sports with them, for instance, if that's your example. Or, you know, I'll go country dance or whatever that might be, you know, so... Yeah, it doesn't have to mean that, well, I need to be true to myself. But on the other hand, people need separation, so sometimes that works for people, right? Like, one person might be like, yeah, I like shooting guns. And the other person's like, no way in heck do I ever want to shoot a gun. So whenever you go do that at the gun range...
Right, I'm not interested.
Then I'm not interested, but go have fun. Right. Otherwise, our personalities fit and we're attracted to each other and, you know, we like other things. But I don't want to be in on your shooting guns thing, even if you're a Second Amendment nut, you know, those types of things, you know. So, again, it's more like a little bit of overlap, not necessarily opposites, you know.
All right, so let's see here. Is there always one friend or person that's more bossier than the other?
Always one friend that is bossier. Good question. Now, in a relationship, I think probably, I mean, again, bossy is a continuum, but there's probably someone who is a little bit more assertive of a relationship.
Right.
And then friends, I think it's one of those... Some of you are kind of equal because, well, you're just and other ones, if you get a group of your friends and you have more than one, you got a group of 5, someone's in there is more bossy, you know, and other ones are like, okay, well, that's not what I would have said, but it's just a friendship situation, so I'm not going to worry about the fact that they're being bossy like I'm in their family or like they're my employee because they're just my friends. Other people can be bossy at work, but they're not going to be bossy with their friends. And other people can't necessarily...
Right. And,
you know,
I always think that there's like, some people don't, I don't know if it's really bossy, but more like motherly. Like kind of like, no, we're going to do it my way. Or this is how we're going to do it. And this is what. And I find myself sometimes I'm in charge of all these people, of making the fun happen and do all these events. And then all of a sudden, like, I feel like, okay, now I'm like kind of controlling everything. And so sometimes I am bossy.
But to make those work, because I know you're kind of a hybrid extrovert, but you like to go make events happen.
Right.
You can't be too wishy-washy or they just won't happen.
Right.
You know, someone's got to take a stand on what things are going to be and when they're going to be and that they're actually going to be. You know, like, you want to ever have plans that never get made? You know, just get 3 introverts together.
Right.
You know?
They'll talk about it, but you don't make the plans?
Well, you know, we really should. It's like nobody ever actually comes to a conclusion.
Right.
So, in a set of successful plans, like let's say if there are 10 sets of successful plans, probably 9 of them are the result of the extrovert taking charge. If it's a group of like 3 or more, right?
Right.
Because, so, yeah, someone has to be bossy in that regard.
Right. So, anyway, should you be disappointed if someone you are friends with lets you down?
Absolutely. I mean, it depends on how close, but, the lesser ones, I mean, they're your friends. You're supposed to be able to rely on them a little bit. But then, I guess part of the question is, what is letting you down? Is it, and that's the continuum. Continuum's the word of the day, in case you didn't figure out.
Right.
But it's, does let you down mean, man, I barely talk to this person, but he's really the person I like to hang out with most. And so when we do, I really want the plans to go forward. And then when they chicken out on me the last second, and it's like, well, dude, I thought you and me were buds, and then we hadn't talked with you. We finally get something planned. We're actually going to do it. And then last second you decide not to do it. Well, that's going to affect you more than, it's also along the introversion extroversion thing, right? It's like if you're an extrovert, well, you get a lot more plans.
Right, yeah.
Right, so in any particular lets down, and a lets down could be any number of things, but as far as like plans dropping away, an extrovert who has plenty of plans isn't going to really care that 1 out of the 11 people didn't show up.
Right,
But they can let you down in other fashions, like, can I count on you to help me move, And you think, man, if there's one person I can count on to help you move, it's so-and-so. He's always reliable, and then all of a sudden they drop out, and is that in other ways, like you expected more from them? Like, do you even mean like morally let you down or what?
Well, and I mean, like, I see on Facebook all the time where just like the other day, they were just like, yeah, I just can't believe they did that to me and they're out of my life forever. And I always think, well, what did they do to you that your friend for so long let you down? And I get some is really, really bad, but I've had some people that did some really bad things to me and I just go quiet for a while. But if they're really, really my friends, then I have to try to justify, like, why would they do something like that?
Introverts will cut them loose. Shoot, off they go. You have fun now. Apparently you're not interested anymore, and I'm not interested in that many people, so if that's your deal, we'll tend to make quicker conclusions go. That's fine with me, whatever. I think extroverts, again, it's kind of just it's almost like a weird law of scarcity for introverts. It's, I don't know. It's this, we don't have a lot of friends, and then we have this mindset of scarcity, and so we're even okay with there being, not much interaction with anybody at all for a while. And so we're ready to, even ones that have been around for a long time, like I just let good friends just kind of fall away, not because they weren't people that I admire, but just because, well, I haven't talked to them in a year, and we haven't seen each other in 2 years, so, what's the point anymore? That's not letting down so much. But
right. I would have to say that I'm just a little bit different, though, because I can have friends, and then we kind of go our own way. They kind of do something, and like 3 or 4 years later, they come back. And I'm just cool with them because I'm going to give them the chance that they have changed. I will not, like my ex-husbands could change and be saints. That's not happening. I'm not going to go back to someone that I gave up that was mean to me. No.
Well, that's a good distinction because you had talked about it could be relationships like romantic or friendship, and now you're talking about that transition between the two.
Right.
I'm the same way. I'm like, listen, if you did that whole forever thing, and then you said you can go screw yourself, well, I don't need us to maintain any type of relationship, and we're still friends. It's like, well, good for you. I'm never ever going to do that.
Right.
I mean, unless there's, I know you like to get along with somebody if you've got mutual kids. But especially without that incentive, forget about it. Now, we're still the same circle of friends, and my ex-wife, I don't know why I thought that's probably why she divorced me. My ex-wife going with my best friend, but that's okay because we've been divorced for 4 years. It's like, no, it's not okay. I don't want to be in her circle.
Right.
If you're going with her, I guess, talk to me when you're not hanging out with her.
Right. And I'm not going to be hang out and be friends with them. I'll be social, but it's not going to be like, hey, want to go want to have a drink? No, I'm done. I'm done with.
So you mean like you
with
would
my
be
ex, with my
social
ex.
if it was a group and you just happen to see him? Is all you
Yeah,
mean?
well, like I saw my ex-husband out with his son eating at the restaurant in Kansas City, and I went up and talked to him.
Oh. So
I'm not
you
about.
would be friendly if you
yeah,
crossed
because I have no
paths.
problems. But I would never call up and go, "Hey, want to hang out?" Or "Hey, want to go to this party?" Or "Hey, you want to come over here?" If it didn't involve our daughter, no, I would not. I would not, because it was a bad relationship. But sometimes you meet someone and then you make it into a relationship, and then you realize we should just
Not
be
the best,
friends.
yeah.
And if you can
And
walk
so-
away as just friends,
Yeah.
then that's a whole different story.
Right.
So when do you know it's time to move to the next level or walk away? So now we're kind of going with, you're friends with people. What if you met someone and you guys were just friends hanging out, but then all of a sudden it kind of changed for you and you're kind of like, I kind of like her or him.
So for me,
Yes.
if she bites my tongue while I try to French kiss her, I'm like, it's not time yet.
It's not time yet.
It's not time for the next level.
When you and your buddy are French
Like,
kissing.
oh! So no, then?
You are definitely not Christian Grey.
So no, then. So, no, but seriously, though, move to the next level. I have no idea. I mean, that's such a trick for guys. It's such a... You just got to kind of delve in because things are not black and white as far as all that stuff goes. It is, shades of gray. But, yeah, I mean, it's so hard to tell whether it's time to go to the next level because you want to be... For me, part of it is... I'm probably overly concerned about this idea of something being pure and not sexual.
Right.
Right? And it's like, it starts that way. Don't be that dude. Don't be, I just want to massage your back, dude. I hate that dude. If you want to massage somebody, don't, I hate that dude.
I was actually...
Now, if it's, you already in a relationship and then, then it's like massage, see where it goes. But that whole thing of, I just want to massage your back, and then it's like, no, you don't. Stop being a jerk.
Right.
But just extend that to more, no, this started in a proper way that's not all about, sex and attraction. I have a real hard time knowing when to switch that over, and it almost feels dishonest to me.
Right.
So that's why it's tough for me. So I have a hard time with that specifically.
So I've been in different situations where, and it's funny that you said that because I actually had met this guy in Kansas City and we're just kind of hanging out. And I specifically said, I'm not interested in anything but just being friends. He's like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, you're not even my type. So we're sitting there.
That could be one sign. When it says, what do you know?
Yeah.
When it says, I mean, you're not even my type.
But anyway, so we were watching TV, and he leaned over, he like reached over, and he was just like, here, let me rub your shoulders. And I was like, okay, like you can rub my shoulders. I don't care. I'm like, you have a friend, you want to rub my shoulders, rub my shoulders. Next thing I know, like his hand is going down my shirt, and I grab his hand, gonna smash his fingers, and I was like, I will kill you. And he's like, what? I'm like, no, we literally talked about this. Like, if we're just going to be friends, because I've given many friends back rubs. I get a massage, and my masseuse, she's not all on me. I can give a back massage. I'm not expecting it, but I'm just like, I'm going to test you. You failed.
So you don't reach for the D during a regular massage? Is what you're saying? Because that was the parallel.
Yeah.
When he's like, no problem, bam!
Yeah, bam!
It's like, come on, man!
Yeah, no happy endings on my
Does that look like a
massages.
tight muscle to you?
Yeah,
it doesn't
it's
look
not.
like a
There's
tight
nothing
muscle.
tight about this.
Right.
Nothing.
So in that case, then your question becomes almost at the exact same moment it's like, okay, one person thinks next level, the other person might, if the person doesn't deal with it right. I know we talked romantically, but maybe we need to touch on the friendship part too, just to regular friends. But the one person thinking next level and doing it the wrong way can mean the opposite person says time to walk away.
Right, exactly. But I have to tell you that I find it very hard when you are friends and you're thinking, we've talked about the friends thing, and you're kind of like, okay. And even with friends with benefits, I mean, friends with benefits is a real thing. And so at the beginning of this, when both people are like, I can do this. This is fine. I'm not a big deal. Like, we can just hook up. We can be friends. And you're like, I don't know if that works out very well. And it's going well, but then all of a sudden you're thinking, it's been a couple years, and I'm kind of like, I think a couple years ago, I'm thinking, but how do you tell them when you've already discussed how it's friends with benefits, and you're thinking, well, if I tell that person I want more, they're more than likely going to be like, boom, you've lost a friend, you've lost a benefit, and they walk away. You don't know. But then if you don't say it, then
you're left.
Then you're like, you don't
wanting,
know it, and you're kind of like, I don't know if I should say it.
Find out.
And how do I bring it up with so, I mean, I don't know, what would you think? But I mean, I'm not saying that I like you or anything like that, but what would your response if you did, if I did like you?
Hypothetically.
Let's talk about it a little bit. So, no, you don't know. You just have no clue. And nowadays, it's really hard.
It's harder.
It's really hard to be honest with people.
We talked about this last week too, with a little bit with the empathy. Oh, geez, it was a connecting thought, I swear. Oh, yeah, just the idea that, before you know it, it's like this weird fine line between, okay, can I show you that I like you, or am I being too creepy by trying to be interested in you? I've actually had that situation too, where it was FWB. But it was it's kind of my only FWB. See, that's another weird dynamic, right?
Right.
Like, you're friends with benefits, but it's almost like, well, I don't necessarily know that it's proper. I don't know how to deal with the dynamic of, am I supposed to have multiple friends with benefits?
Heck yeah.
And then are you supposed to be clean with all that? And the other person is the other person. It's probably the only way to keep it a friends with benefit.
Right.
Possibly. I don't know, but that gets weird because then you're like, well, what about this weekend? And then they're like, you're being weird now? I'm like...
So friends with benefits is not exclusive, and you have to not be exclusive, because if you're exclusive, you're dating without feelings.
Well,
so
true.
that's my thing is when someone says, well, we're friends with benefits, and you're just like, oh, really? So why don't you and I hook up?
Do you both believe that?
Well, no, I'm kind of with him. No, you're not with him. You're friends with benefits. So friends with benefits, it's basically friends, and it's not like you're together, every weekend. I mean, you might see each other once a month. You might see each other twice a month. You don't know. But really, if you're...
Well, it's a good point, but people will get mixed up with that.
Correct.
Very
It's
easily.
a very mixed up
Even
thing.
as one person does try to be clear about it, there's still kind of this unspoken... Oh, but doesn't that mean kind of like a low level of faithfulness? Like, not really, not necessarily. So you need to get your head wrapped around that.
Well, I lay everything out how it is, but then when it does change, it's almost impossible to talk about anything like that. So going to the next level, it's because most people when you meet, it's kind of like friends or dating right there. There is no moving to the next level almost.
Right.
And so, that, I would love to talk to somebody, because I've literally had 2 boyfriends in my life, and I married both of them. So I'm really not, I just know from my other friends and my friends with benefits, because I do have benefits. This girl does not go on, and I have a benefit package. I'm self-employed.
So who's providing your benefit package? Anyway, but the other aspect about that is just as interesting in a way is that whole, dude, man, me and Joe really get along. I think he'd be a good friend. He's a good dude. Right. And then you go, yeah, but I mean, is Joe really there's been many, Seinfeld episode and other parodies of this idea where they put friendships in the next level and kind of like this humorous look of whether or not it's begun to be like a serious romantic relationship, even though it's not about homosexuality or anything like that. It's just totally just the humor, the analogy of just friends. Like, I thought we had something. I thought we had a good thing going. I know.
It's almost like two, but you can have guys and girls that are not gay, but it's kind of like they start kind of dating each other. Like, cause it's kind of like, it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean we're not going to watch the game next Friday? Right. Well, because Bob called me. What? Okay, whoa. So you and Bob are going to go without me? And then all of a sudden you're like, well, I mean,
I thought that was our thing. So that is interesting.
And girls especially, like, so you go to do an event and you're going out to go to eat. And then if there's like 2 people that go out that's friends with one person that didn't get invited, and even though it's a whole different group of girls, that girl will be like, saw on Facebook what you did last night. And guess I wasn't invited. And we're like, what? You didn't get the text message? Like, this isn't your group of people just because you know 2 people, but literally this is because you know me through them. It's a different circle. And I can't invite all 500 people every time. And people don't do that really to me very often because I usually invite everybody.
They usually know. You put all your cards on the table that you're in an open friend relationship.
I am an open friend, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
It's friends with events.
You're orgiastic with friends.
Exactly.
It's a friend orgy, but only literally in the friend way. Many people involved. And you just need to understand that. You just need to be okay with it. But now that's a much healthier, well, it's really, I don't know, it's almost judgmental on the introvert-extrovert thing. It just is what it is. It's like introverts are going to have that friend to 3. Mm-hmm. That's it. I mean, for a lot of them.
So let me ask.
And so when that friend starts just having a chance to go do something because they're closer geographically to somebody else, not going to necessarily take that personally, but part of them's going to go, man, I mean, it's a dude. I mean, I can't be like, but on the other hand, you're like, man, I should have, kept up with him more or something like that. And then you kind of, you don't know what to do with it. So it is kind of, and then when is that kind of like, well, I'm not going to ask it because this next part is next level or walk away.
Right.
And on the friend thing, it's like, well, I guess that thing's over. It's no big deal. Or maybe it is. And so that's an interesting dynamic. Back to our mini themes of introversion and extroversion.
Or you just say, I'll just wait because that ain't going to work. I'll be here. I'm always here. I'm always
Don't worry, you'll be back.
So let me tell you this ask you this. So when you go out and you are like, I think I'm going to look for someone to date. Let's go with dating. And you look at like.
Let me think back 6 years.
But
because in between then and now, it's just been here and there. We just do a thing. But go ahead with your question.
Even not even dating, friends with benefits. When you walk up to a woman someplace and not even talking to them, but do you ever like look at them and think like, she's doable?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the first. It's just like you mentioned it earlier. It's like, yes, you'd go, would this be a friend, or if it came to it,
right?
And she was open to it, or especially if she's just directly assertive, would it be the other? And the guys definitely do that. I mean,
girls do that too.
At the very first moment, they do that.
Like you're like
they make that category,
right?
The first moment,
And
even as they're walking forward and going by, it'd be like maybe,
yes.
If you don't know, I just did the eyes of the woman walking toward me, and the yes came after she got past me, and I looked down. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's and it's really weird because men and women, they all think like, oh, we talk over here and women don't do that. But I think women sometimes talk more about it than men do.
Well,
because men are just into sports.
But you know that sometimes, to your point, where it gets a little weird is when you did go, maybe. She walks by and you go, or he walks by in your case, probably not.
Oh, nah. I know.
But then later on, for some reason, you've gotten along. and you just kind of let your guard down and go, let's try.
Yeah.
Which is,
that's
and that
happened to me.
happens. And it's happened with me with one girlfriend where I said, no, she's fun and she's smart, but not girlfriend material. But like many introverts, if the girl is assertive, then you're like, well, maybe. I mean, I am good friends with her.
Right.
We do really enjoy each other. And she's not like, not presentable. She just wasn't what I was thinking at first as someone that I would really, consider desirable. But she's cute enough, and she's very nice and we get along great. And then it turns into that, which is kind of a weird hybrid thing. Like when it's really based on attraction versus based on friendship, to your earlier point, like a When Harry Met Sally type of a thing. And I think at the end, he has that big, long soliloquy about how they were friends first and all. I haven't seen that movie in a while.
Right.
But it was, if I recall right, it was the idea that they got along well with each other at first.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so think about from your age of when you were like in your 30s versus now 50s, has your idea
Speak
of
for yourself, woman.
I'm older than 50. But has your idea of the perfect woman changed?
No.
Mine has.
So two things about that. And I can imagine this is weird because it's stereotypical, but I think, most stereotypes have some relevancy and truth. So for women, that stability and having some kind of maturity is a bigger thing for their guys, especially, and I'm saying not necessarily friends with benefits, but potential.
Right.
It's purely the stereotype of will a 35 attractive woman, 35-year-old, eventually, I'll say settle, just in the terms of settle for attraction, but for a 47-year-old guy who's kind of a 7 or he's a 6, and she's an 8.5 or a 9. Yes, because if he seems mature and she's gone through all that bad boy crap,
right?
Absolutely. Will a guy necessarily go from, man, she is an 8.5, and I want to give her babies now, when he's 25, to when he's 45, go, well, she's a 6, but she's nice. Well, maybe, but the first instinct is no. There's still the 8.5. The very first instinct is always
it's more
that.
beauty, and mine has changed. I mean, both my ex-husbands were not bad looking, and then I had like a stereotype, and then all of a sudden I was like, you know what, this is crap. I'm actually judging guys by appearance before I even get to know them. And so now,
because you did that yes, no, maybe, yes, absolutely,
and then I was
had that category and tended to stick with it from that moment,
right? And then so that has as I've gotten older, it has changed. Not the fact that I'm like yes, but now it's the fact of they're like, yeah, you're a no. You're not an 8.
Wait, say that again.
So I'm thinking yes, like you're hot, like you're the good, like you're beautiful, but I am not from the beautiful person, I am not that person where they're like, oh, I reciprocate. Yes, I think you're the 8. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm done with that. I want to find someone who is intellectually there, who likes what I like to do, flexible, and actually is just a nice person. That's my biggest thing is that you've got to be nice.
And when you're younger, of course, you say you do, go. It's not that you're a drinker per se, but you'll go do social drinking. So it's not. But those types of things, it's no longer about, okay, what are we doing, dude? Like having this, great time on Fridays and Saturdays all the time, and it's the party excitement, bro type. It's just, a little bit quieter, but it still has some fun and has some personality to them. And I'd say for women, it can be the same thing. Guys have to fight it more. They have to fight the idea, but for me, because I'm probably too appearance-based from my younger days still, even though I've been married once, and she was, I was just fine. She wasn't any total hot woman or anything. She was decent, but, average to average, I'll say. So
how long were you married?
Just short of 5 years.
5. Oh, wow. Was it in Topeka or someplace else?
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And now ask me how long too long I was married.
How long too long?
No, that's usually my Navy joke. I was going to say just short of 5 years. I'm kidding. That's not true. We thought we had a mature relationship, and we just really didn't. Then I got out of the Navy and didn't have any clue what to do with my life, which is going to happen.
Yeah.
When you haven't gone to college first, you don't have any sense of confidence of what even to do next, unless you're just going to do the exact same job, and you kind of reset yourself. And if you've got a partner who's not ready for that transition, doesn't really want to be, confident, I should say, doesn't want to stay along long enough for you to figure that out, it's a weird time period. Some people just transition easily. They, maybe they were officers, or maybe because they were people who worked on airplanes, they just want to go work at the airport.
Right.
But for like me, I tend to be a little bit more intellectual. I was working on airplanes, and then I kind of had the bug to be in, radio.
Right.
And that was my thought almost immediately when I got in college. At first, it was I was already interested in radio, but at first it was education.
Did you get to do Good Morning Vietnam?
We did not do any. We actually, on aircraft carriers, even then, they had their aircraft TV station. So it would be closed circuit TV. So you didn't get anything live. And I always wondered, they probably pump in satellite stuff. So, I can't remember why we got on that. But, the fact that, how things change and how you look. So now that relationship was started with just lust.
Right.
And to your point, now I would never make a lust relationship the permanent relationship without a lot more information.
Yeah. Like what's your middle name?
Yeah, like just because you need both hands to count whether somebody had a particularly successful time on a particular night,
right,
doesn't necessarily mean you're made for each other for life. And in fact, might mean quite the opposite.
I think that's also probably back in the time where it was more serious relationships were like, oh, so you guys want to hook up? You're going to be married.
Yeah, a little bit more.
We didn't have friends with benefits.
I was in the
back
Navy,
in the
and
80s.
so you went overseas, and really what happened, that was literally before the phrase, what happened in Vegas stays in Vegas, because that started with what happens on cruise stays on cruise.
Right.
I literally heard that years before they said it with Vegas for the first time, and it was about sailors
military.
going to the Philippines.
Yeah, what?
And there's no way in heck, unless you told the person's wife that she can do anything but just hope that he's faithful.
Right.
It wasn't your business to step in. But so there were definitely cheating husbands. But officially, yes, you're right. At least as the official thing goes, if you're hooking up with a woman, you're more likely to just get married.
Right.
But, yeah.
So the last thing is, what do you look for in a relationship? What's like three things that for you to let's just do the dating one. For you to date someone, three things that they have to have.
Okay, they have to seem like, it's weird because it's a prideful thing. One is that, you might think they're eights, but you have to think that they think you're an eight or whatever, right? Like you have to, like, it seems like she is the person who, if I walk by, I seem to catch your eye.
Right.
I think that's good because it flatters you every day, right? Like, I just love your eyes or whatever it is. If a guy's saying that to a girl all the time, like, man, you just have the prettiest eyes. And how's my brother-in-law's great for this because he goes, oh, isn't she just so about my sister? Isn't she just such a cutie? I mean, just to hear that all the time and have it be genuine.
Right.
That's flattering, and it just kind of, I think, helps. It's not somebody reaching for that. Like, you sure do look pretty today, Margaret.
Right.
Right. So off the cuff, like, you have to feel like they're, genuinely attracted to you. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's one. I don't know whether the idea that you're attracted to them should be another, unless we make that more nuanced.
There should be a mutual attraction.
Yeah, I mean, we could change that to mutual attraction for sure. Yeah, and then that's only one. Stable.
Mine has to have a job.
Right. So
they have to be in a career and a job that.
No crazy girls. I mean, that's.
Oh man.
Okay, so no. Here's the thing. I find just a little bit of meth skinny really hot. I mean, I do. Like, if it's just meth
Just
skinny
a little
enough
meth skinny.
that I think, I bet you if she pulled up her shirt, she'd have just those little six-pack. I find that hot. And then I go, but only a little bit.
Only a little bit.
Because that probably goes to the crazy part.
Right.
And unstable, and that ain't good. It's good for a hookup, and that's it. And then you're like wondering whether she's going to gnaw through your windows.
Right.
So stable. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, and that's the thing that changes a little bit. We all learn our lesson over a period of time in a number of relationships, like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Right.
But the other thing, and it's kind of related to that, is are they really ready, or is this? It kind of goes to stability, but not necessarily. Maybe that's it. I'll just say 3 is ready.
Ready.
Because some people are in bounce backs, and it's not about you, but you can take a huge emotional toll. For me, now that's me personally,
Right.
based on how my particular story of being hurt,
Right.
also known as my relationship history.
Right.
In other words, how I've been hurt.
How you've been hurt, right?
So sometimes people can string you along for 6 months or a year. You're not the person. You're a
Right.
person, but they don't tell you that because they need somebody.
Yeah.
So it's also almost like ready / they're have the ability to be independent and alone, but they're choosing
Right.
you.
Right.
Because some people don't want to be alone.
Right.
And they don't want to go 2 months without it. So it just means that when you might be D with, no pun intended, A, B, C, D, E, F.
Right.
You just happen to be that 4th person.
Right.
Because they don't know how to be alone and haven't figured it out yet. You know, and so you got to really be ready or careful as to understand whether they're ready or you're just for now.
Right.
Because if you're okay with that, that's great. But you said relationship.
Well, this is
You know, if you're okay with being, well, that's it for now, that's fine. Good for you. But if it is important to you, I think you need to make that distinction of, is this person independent and ready for a relationship? Could they drop you if they wanted to? And is that where they are? Because they don't want to. And then you're going to get emotionally invested.
Right.
So that was my
Those are yours.
most recent deal. So yeah, I have attracted. They're attracted to me, but you can change that to true mutual attraction. That they're stable and that they're independent and truly ready for a relationship.
Right. So I have to say, of yours, I like 2 of them. The stable. I am 53 years old. They've got to have their career decided by now. They need to have their job and the place to live that is not at their mother's house.
I've got a dream still, right? If I just right. Have you ever met guys
Right.
like that? They're still
I'm
just
working
ready.
there. I'm so.
You're still just
I've,
ready
I've
to
got
do
it.
that.
I know the next best thing. No, you know what? You need to be stable, and you need to have a job, and you need to not be living with 6 guys, or you need to not be living at your mother's house.
No more bro living.
Yeah, you've got to be able to be out
You're
on your
not
own.
impressed by a pyramid of beer cans anymore?
I've never been impressed with a pyramid of big kids.
Good.
Never.
See, that's actually that's
Ever.
a number 4. Has she ever been impressed
Yeah,
by
no.
a pyramid of beer cans?
Yeah, no, I have not. Independent, because I am
So
very
stable
independent.
was your just one of your
I like
2.
that one. So independent, I like that one as well, because I travel a lot and I am always by myself. I have no problem going places by myself, going to the casino by myself, going to the airport by myself. I'm not going to travel and be by myself in a location. Like, I'm not going to go, I think I'm going to travel and go to Florida and just go by myself. That's not going to ever happen. That's just not for me. But I will travel by myself, and I want to be able to leave. And so I want someone that's independent, that's not insecure. They have to be secure with themselves. They have to realize that I am never going to cheat on them, and that if they cheat on me, I have no problem to just walk away.
So that's, in your case, more like not needy and / trusting.
Yeah, trusting and stable. Like, but yeah, they need to, it's got to be a trust relationship, because I'm going to go and do a bunch of different things, and I'm going to
that's
invite you
important.
to come around, but there's going to be times that you're really not going to want to be there. I know that Remington's was open, which is a big country bar, my now ex-husband, but we were dating at the time, and he was always, it'd be girls' night, and I'd be like, girls and I are going out, and he's like, what am I going to do? And I'm like, I don't know, meet me at the bar. Like, the girls and I are going to go out for margaritas. You want to dance? Meet me at the bar. And so he'd just come out to the bar. Like, I'm not going to tell you not to come out. If I'm going someplace, I don't want to be with someone that I am embarrassed of. And that would be my other thing is sometimes guys just embarrass you. And I see my friends' significant other, guy and girl, and you're just like, and they're the whole time their head is down and they're just like, I don't know why he does this. I don't know why he says that. Do not embarrass me in public. I mean, back when I was 20 or 30, I might have allowed that to happen, but that's not going to happen now, and I'm not going to
define embarrass you in public. Like, what kinds of...
So, one time, my first ex-husband, mind you, we were 19 years old, so probably 19 or 20 years old. Cute. I know, we were so cute. We were at Kmart, and one of my friends had gotten an abortion. And this is a long time ago. And we were in Kmart and we were walking down and he just started yelling at me. And then he was like something about, you're a slut. Then again, just like your friend who goes and gets an abortion, and just started yelling in Kmart about the friend of mine that had an abortion, and that how I was a horrible person and all this stuff, and calling me all these names. And I was just like, I'm weighing 98 pounds. I'm like, everybody's looking at me. I worked at this store, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. So I believe that the person that I want to be with has to respect me, especially in public at all times. And then do not get all drunk and embarrassing and cause fights and stuff.
You mean also, I was going to say, by embarrassing in a couple aspects is really respectful / don't be borderline abusive or abusive.
Right.
To me.
Well,
then
abuse
also
is not even...
the irrespectful as to not embarrassed. Don't be embarrassing as to getting wasted.
Right. Yeah. Just acting. Well, I don't even mind if you get and you kind of go crazy or whatever. But if you start a fight, or if you damage or harm or hurt anybody, and you can't handle your alcohol, stop drinking, first of all. I mean, but I don't want to have to be the person that's apologizing for the person I'm dating. I'm not doing that anymore. I've had to do that multiple times with my ex-husbands. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. And that's not going to happen for me. I don't care if you get drunk and you fall down and you be goofy, because if you're around that, that's not my thing. I'm talking about just being a complete dick. I'm not going to happen. I'm not going to do it.
Like, ideally... For some people, if they do social drinking, like, I don't really drink, but it's like, it's kind of fun to know if a person's just a silly fun drunk.
Right.
As opposed to like, oh, great, the incredible dick's about to come out.
It's like, oh, look, the happy person's coming out. Oh, no, she's drinking vodka. Oh, now it's going to turn into bad. Or the one that's like takes off all of her clothes, or, but anyway,
really?
So.
Is she single?
So, but that's
actually number 5.
5, is she single?
Likes to take off her clothes in public.
I can't imagine you dating someone who in the middle of the mall would just take her clothes off. That would be embarrassing. So, but anyway, that's like, those are just things I think that because in my past I had. And when it comes to looks, honestly, I just want them to be nice. They just need to be nice and not fake. And not a bully, but more of just nice. And the appearance changes.
Still presentable.
Presentable. But also, I want people to be like,
sounds elitist.
I like him.
Yeah. Well, but for guys, it's a really weird thing, and maybe for girls, it's not the same thing. But there's something about just being around. It's almost. This sounds awful, but it's an analogy, even though it's not, because at first it's going to sound insane. But when you come home and the dog likes you and just makes your day, when you come home and you go, gosh, my partner's cute,
Right.
It just kind of makes your day.
Right, exactly.
You know, so if you have that genuine attraction, it's totally superficial, but on the other hand, it's totally genuine.
Right.
Like if you go, gosh, he's just my type for you, right?
Yeah.
He's just my type. I just
like, is he not just cute? Like,
Yeah.
he's adorable because
Right.
I've never, well,
it doesn't hurt. I'm saying go ahead.
My second ex-husband's family, his mom and dad were like that. My mom and dad really weren't like that. They didn't touchy-feely or anything like that. But Jim and Linda, they were amazing because she'd be like doing the dishes and he would go like this and he'd like put his hand in his thing and he'd stare at her and he'd go, I still can't believe she's all mine. And I mean, that's like 30 years later. And it was not sucking up. She didn't even hear it. And he'd just watch her with these eyes and he'd just be in awe. And you're like, 30 years later, that's what I want. That's one of the things I loved about their relationship.
That may or
not
may
the
not
way that
happen,
their
but I'm just
son
bringing up-
treats me.
Right.
Because he evidently didn't watch that. But that's kind of what I want. And that's, I've had that before just with my friends and that I will be just like, they're just awesome. Like, they're just like the best friend ever. And this could be a girl too, that you're sitting someplace and you just look at them and they're making people laugh and you're just like, I'm so glad she's my friend. Like, she makes me smile. That it's the same way. So Anyway, well, I hope everyone learned.
Learn from us two incredibly successful
single people. I guess maybe next time we'll be like, how to be successfully single. Because we got that down.
All that crap we said last time, ignore it all.
I sometimes I think, I would love to, have
Don't
that.
follow your own lessons.
Don't. Yeah, do what we say, not what we do.
Oh, yeah, that too, right?
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time, and we appreciate our listeners and are excited that our show is at number 25. That's still just amazing to me. Make sure to go to our Facebook group, KIMology 411. Make sure you like that group and feel free in there to comment, give us suggestions of different topics that you want us to make stuff up about. Because if we can be professionals on dating, we can be professionals on about any
Probably
topic.
biochemistry.
Exactly.
You want us to talk about biochemistry. Hey, by the way, though, next week, even though we talked about 25 being like kind of cool because it was whatever, the silver or the wooden anniversary, if it were
the
years,
ruby or red or
next week will be a half year.
Yeah.
Because it'll be 26 weeks out of 52.
Isn't
so
that
that's a real
crazy?
thing.
That is.
Yeah.
That is. I can't still believe that he finds time to come over to the studio. Do you look forward to this every week?
Hey, listen. Remember how we said once it only takes me like 7 minutes to get here? Commitment is low. It's fine. I mean, maybe if we lived in the KC Metro and it took me like 30 minutes.
What? I'm not even worth 30 minutes.
I didn't say definitely no. I just said the factor is like, it's so easy, it's not even close to coming into any problem. Yeah, it's no problem. 26, no problem.
Well, you normally
I'm hoping to get to at least 100 before we become stars.
100 then.
And even if we're stars, we still say we have to make it to 100.
Right.
Like if somebody goes, hey, you know what? I listened to your stuff. You said you had a good radio background and you're natural on the air. You want to be in radio? I'd be like, well, I don't know. Depends on how much money you pay me, because radio pays like crap. But if you can deal with that, then yeah, we could work it. Even then, I'd want to make 100 episodes.
100 episodes.
Maybe more. You know, it's like, well, because I bet you in regular radio, I couldn't talk as freely.
Right.
So I'm not even saying I'd stop at 100. If I suddenly had a full-time talk radio job, I might go further.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. We're now at least only a quarter of our goal.
Oh, definitely.
At our minimum goal.
Of our celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still have a lot, and we've got more episodes than this because we've got all of our excursions. We've got a lot of stuff out there. Talking about excursions, make sure you go to episode 25 excursion if you want to know more about what was going on and how the coronavirus stuff was going on. And then we're also going to update you on the coronavirus memes because they're kind of funny.
Oh, my Lord.
So anyway, all right, Tyson, thanks for helping make KIMology 411 so awesome.
You're welcome, Kim. I'm going to take a break before this excursion.
Yeah, so we will
You got any toilet paper?
I actually do. I found something in Kansas City on Friday. I snatched that shit up.
Anyway, that's another little tease about the excursion.
Yeah, look that up on Google about the toilet paper crisis.
Go look up the Wikipedia on that.
Yeah, the year,
The great
the year
toilet
that
paper crisis of
Yes.
2020. The GTPC 2020.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Please make sure to keep taking all of your adventures. Bye-bye.